Ho, 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 who would know? Ho, 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 who would go up on the housetop? Click, 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 down through the chimney with good Saint Nick. Ah, almost forgot to put on my hat. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Okay, I'm a little bit behind schedule, so give me a moment here to kind of catch up. Okay. Rawr. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here with me. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman, and we are going to do some card readings. I got my fire going in the fireplace, and got some lights up and around. I've got my, let's see if I can do this. How do I got my Christmas tree over there with Bubba the fat-winged hamster on top as my angel. So, trying to give you just a little narrow view of my messy apartment. So, welcome. I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. And, all right. This is, I've got my, moved my papasan chair over because when I'm done here, I'm going to start doing something else I've had planned for a really long time. There's a book. I've been wanting to read this book forever, and I've started it and I've never finished it. So I am going to do a series, and I'm going to have to commit because I'm saying it on video, but I'm going to do a series of videos actually reading that book, so that way I get to actually find out what's in it and how it goes and all of that, and share it with everyone else. So anyway, welcome. Thank you for being here. If you are new here, I am Patrick, your friendly neighborhood shaman. I keep saying that over and over. And the way this works is I am going to pull five cards for different individuals. If you would like a one card reading, all you need to do is say yes in the comments. So we already have Kim and Anna. Hi, you guys. Thank you for joining me again. I keep trying to move my papasan chair so the fire is more visible. Let's see some of my lights over there, my little Santa. I actually have, it's hard to see, but I've got some lights going up kind of in a tree shape, and there's a star up there in front of my jackalope. So it's getting really into the spirit of things. So anyway, if you would like a one card reading, all you need to do is say yes in the comments, and then listen for that card. And once I've done the 5 cards, hey Charles, I am going to do if you were to come to me for a one-on-one reading, I do a card spread that's called the medicine wheel, and so it's like the 5. It's 5 cards. It's the 4 directions and the center card, and so I'm going to read those individual ones, and then at the end, all 5 of those cards go in to make up the community. I'll do a full reading with the 5 cards for the community at large, which I love. I've been asking my guides, what can I do differently? And that's kind of the idea they gave me, so that I love being able to show you how your life, your path, your guidance weaves so smoothly into the guidance of the community, right? We're all connected. So, and I always forget to say these things till the end, but if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I'm here every Monday night doing these readings, and at some point, I usually, up till just recently, I was doing a Wednesday night video as well, but that one is doing the hi, I don't know how to pronounce your name, Njokiwakomas, Como? Hello, welcome, welcome. I also do a pipe ceremony. Okay, I gotcha. Where did I put my pen? I'm the only one I know who can lose something while they're sitting in one place. All right. I'm not Santa. Well, that's kind of a loaded question. And I'm not sure how to say your name. Joki Wakamu? Joki Wakamu. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Awesome, awesome. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for your patience. I don't want to butcher people's names. Names are too important. So, okay, Joki Wakamu. Doomslayer 8277. Have a good night as well. All right. So we have 4 people. We've got room for 1 more if anyone would like a 1 card reading. What else? I'm forgetting to say something. So subscribe, like, share. If there's anyone who needs some guidance, someone you know that needs some guidance, please share the video. If you are not one of the first Gray Play wants a Meta Quest 3 for Christmas. I will talk to Santa and see what he can do. Joki Wakamo, your real name is Frederick. If you don't mind, I will call you that. It's a little bit more easy. All right. I get distracted by the different comments and stuff. So like, share, subscribe, and if you enjoy my content, if you enjoy my videos, please share them far and wide. And oh, hi, Jake. Awesome. Welcome. Jake, would you like a card? No one else is asking for one. You're welcome, Gray Play. All right. Jake, you are number 5. All right. So, oh, and so if you enjoy my work and would like to reciprocate in a different way, um, Frederick, I got you already. You're on the list. Um, I also have my Venmo link in the description, and anything you wish to do to offer to support your friendly neighborhood shaman. This is oh, Frederick, you're 7 years old. Wow, very cool. I remember being 7. Um, yeah, and so this is my day job, and so anything you wish to give, I am so grateful for. But of course, it is not obligatory. And one more thing before I get to the cards. Last week we had some technical difficulties, and YouTube just kind of kicked me off at a certain point, and so I had only gotten to like one card or something. And so I went ahead and recorded, like, actually came out to be like 3 different videos because it kicked me off again. And so my intention was to post all 3 of those on my channel, but they're still uploading. It's been an entire week and they're still uploading. And so for those who got a card last week, I apologize. I'm hoping that whatever happened last week is not going to happen this week. But if it does, I think what I will do this week is I will go ahead and instead of messing around with the live video, I will just I will make a video of the readings, just not live, and then I will post that to my channel so that people don't miss out on the guidance that they need. I would hate that for people to miss. So anyway, enough of me babbling on. Let's pull our first card for Kim. So, welcome again. Thank you, everyone. It means a lot to me that people are willing to give up an hour or so, 2 hours of their Monday evenings to focus inward, to focus on spirit. All right. Card number 1. And if you aren't one of the first 5, you're still in luck. All you need to do is choose a number between 1 and 5 and listen to that card, because Spirit has this amazing way of weaving guidance together. And even though that card might be earmarked for somebody else, I promise that you will get your answers, that somehow the things that I say will apply to you as well. Or if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and choose a number between 1 and 5, and yeah, so. Well, thank you, Frederick. All right, let's get to it. I'm verbose enough when I'm trying to do the reading, so I need to not use so much time at the beginning rambling. So we've got our card number 1 for Kim. Oh, awesome. All right, card number 1 for Kim is Swan. I love Swan. I actually just saw some. Well, thanks, Gregory Play. Thank you. That means a lot. I just saw some swans this past week. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas, there's a local farm that has reindeer, and I get to volunteer and go spend my mornings with reindeer. And on my way home, on another little farm out in the country, in one of the fields, there were all these swans there. So I pulled over and I sat there and watched the swans. There were only 6 of them though, so I think the 7th one was probably hesitant to get out of the pool and wanted to keep swimming, but that's just a theory. So, swan. So Kim, with swan, swan is swan is basically the story of the ugly duckling, right? Well, thank you, you guys. You're flattering me. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So, swan is like the ugly duckling, right? It's that whole story, like the swan egg accidentally getting into the duck nest, and then being raised by the ducks, and her entire life thinking that she was a duck and wondering why she didn't feel like she fit into her world, right? She was bigger, uglier, more awkward, all of these things, and she couldn't fit up to the image of what a duck was supposed to be, right? Until she matured and became this beautiful, angelic bird and realized she never was a duck to start with. And so, I keep losing my train of thought, sorry. And so it's indicative of where you are on your path. This is a validation that you are coming into your power, right? And that, I've got a lot of friends who are in the LGBTQ plus community, and so many of them are so inspirational to me, because they've had to, because of society, and expectations and rules and whatever, they've almost been forced into self-contemplation. They've had to examine their own path, figuring out what their relationship is with the world, with society, and because they couldn't do anything else, it was like, and because of that, so many of my friends in that community, I look up to so much, and I find so much inspiration, because from the day they were born, and this is, I feel like I'm not qualified to really say these things because I'm a straight white guy, but feeling that feeling of not belonging, of something being fundamentally wrong with you, wondering why you're in this world when you're unlike anyone else in your world, and having to come to terms with who you are and accept who you are. And not to say that all LGBTQ are in that place, because um, I'm feeling so out of my league for saying this, all of this, but because I'm not, and I don't mean to tell other people's stories, but um, those who have come through that and come to a place of peace and trust and self acceptance become such beacons of light in this world, because they've already had to face face the crap that the world was throwing at them, um, going through all the feelings of inadequacy and wrongness and being cursed their entire life. And so Swan has come through all of that. And I always think of it, let me grab this. Oh, actually, if you can, I don't have to grab, if you can see this little thing on my wall up here, um, it's a wolf rib, the bone, and then I've got these different imitation eagle feathers hanging off of it, and each of those feathers is something challenging I came through, like some, if you want to think of it like a battle that I have survived. And so having that up there reminds me of how strong I am. And in that way, like Swan coming up in a world where she doesn't feel she belongs, like, what's wrong with me? Why am I in this world? I'm not as good as anyone else. I'm not as strong as anyone else. I'm not as beautiful as everyone else. But every one of those challenges has become a feather, right? Until she emerges as this beautiful, angelic bird, radiant and inspiring, right? I don't know anyone who sees a swan is like, ew, you know? Um, because there's this sense of, like I said, self acceptance, radical self acceptance. No one can tell her she's wrong. No one can tell her she should be doing something else. And part of swan medicine is really about surrender. Um, instead, instead of fighting the rules and expectations of society and creating a false identity in contrast to who you're supposed to be, um, Swan surrenders to who she really is. And it's kind of that same thing of being a spirit having a human experience rather than being a human having a spiritual experience. And so there's actually a story, if I can remember, that comes with this card, like in the book that comes with this deck, about the swan came swimming by one day, and Dragonfly was napping on a reed, and she asked him, like, what's next? What where do I go? What direction do I move? And Dragonfly, being kind of the gatekeeper between the realms, being the master of illusion and stuff, said, you need to surrender to who you are and trust that There is purpose in everything. Trust that Creator is shaping you, that every experience is a gift. Every experience has wisdom and purpose to it. And that by trusting and surrendering to your path, you you reveal who you really are rather than becoming something to deal with the forces of the world. By surrendering and letting go and being vulnerable, you reveal that spirit of who you actually are. And so Dragonfly spun his wings, created this little portal, and Swan swam right into this portal and disappeared. And many days later, when Dragonfly was hanging out at the pond, he looked up and here came Swan. You know, when he had seen her last, she was the ugly duckling. She was awkward and not comfortable in her body and all of those kind of things. And what he saw coming toward him was this huge, beautiful, radiant white bird. And he was like, "Oh my God, Swan, what happened to you?" And Swan replied, "I trusted, I just surrendered, I let go. And I recognized the gift in every moment and the gift in every experience, realizing that I was greater than anything that could happen to me. And that Creator, that the universe has my back. And so whatever is in front of me, I can handle. Nothing is beyond me. Anything that comes to me is my next step on my path." And this was the result. She became who she was meant to be. And so all of that to say that this is a kind of a validation from the universe for you, Kim, to let you know that basically you have arrived. That it doesn't mean your journey is over, that you have peaked and it's all downhill from now or anything, but it's like a coming into your power, coming into your identity, and trusting who you are, trusting that light within you, right? I know that you are such a radiant person. It doesn't surprise me that Swan is the one that popped up for you, because I've done readings for you before, and every time I see you on Zoom and such, it's like you're just radiant. And what my guides are kind of nudging me to talk about now is that many years ago, one of my teachers, spirit teachers, mentioned that actually it was a channeling. A friend of mine used to channel Jeshua, and Jeshua told us one day that where we were on our paths, even on our worst day, when we feel down in the dumps, we are still a higher vibration than most people are on their best days. So to recognize that, another thing that he said along with that is that the sign of enlightenment, the sign of a master, is not that you don't go to those places, just that you don't spend so much time in those places, in the downward. And so even though you may have your bad days or your bad periods, know that you are still on your path, that every moment is fruitful, and that every moment is adding to your strength, to your character, to revealing who you actually are. All of the challenges, they're not there to punish you or to put you in your place. Like Wayne Dyer used to say, circumstances don't create a person, they reveal the person. And all of the, like, people talk about like the cosmic 2x4, getting hit upside the head with the cosmic 2x4 because the universe was mad or like frustrated or whatever. And it's like the universe doesn't punish you. The universe doesn't judge you. When you get that 2x4, it's not the universe taking a whack at you to kind of put you in your place or wake up. It's not so much aimed at you as it is aimed at knocking the armor off. Like I've said before, where sometimes I feel like someone's just beating me up with a sword, and it's like the sword isn't there to harm me. The sword is beating on me to release the armor, right? It's to get rid of the armor and all of the things that we've used for protection growing up. You know, and this is like the point of growing out of duality and growing into the non-dual universe, realizing that we are all one, that, like someone said, it's like the sum total of minds and hearts in the universe is one. We are all connected. We are all part of the same energy, that energetic soup, right? It's like everything is connected. Everything is part of everything else. And the universe is like a giant hologram where every particle of the universe contains the whole of the rest of the universe. That's who you really are. And so this is a rite of passage, a coming of age, however you want to think about it. But it's learning to trust the universe. And really to take stock and give yourself credit for what you've come through, right? Just like my feathers up here, you can make a list of all the hardest parts of your life, all the hardest chapters of your life, and realize I'm still here. You have 100% record of surviving and coming through every difficulty, right? So surrender to your greatness. Which brings up one of my favorite affirmations that I say a lot is, only good can come of this. I borrowed that from Louise L. Hay. It was like, no matter what's happening, only good can come of this. So, trust your light and know that everything you do, even though you don't realize it, you are an inspiration to others. Your light, just your presence in the world, makes a difference, right? Swan doesn't try to impress people. Swan doesn't try to do things to, get followers or get the numbers up or whatever. Swan just swims and flies and hangs out, being beautiful and radiant. That's enough. Who you are is enough. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to earn your greatness. You're already whole. You're already divine. You don't have to create. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to do anything to deserve it. I'm going to move my camera up a little bit because there we go. I'm cutting off the top of my wolf's head, and it was bugging me. It's like, All right, so I hope that is helpful, Kim. It's like, good job. And there's another deck of cards I have that I don't use very often, and it's like the Druid animal deck. I'm trying to remember, but I think in there it says something about how in some language the word swan is the same as the word for love. So love yourself. Know that you are worthy, that you are enough, that the world benefits from just your being here. Okay? All right. Moving on to card number 2 for Anna. Awesome. All right. Anna. Oh, you are so welcome, Ken. You brought a tear to your eye. It was so meaningful. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for that validation. 'Cause I just start talking. Spirit just starts talking through me. It's not me. So I'm so glad that it was helpful. I love my job. If I haven't said that yet, I love my job. So card number 2 for Anna is Lynx. Lynx is a pretty complex totem, but the thing that she's bringing my attention to is her paws, her big old snowshoe paws. Which reminds me of one of my favorite jokes in the world. Okay. A polar bear walks into a bar and he says, "I'll have a beer." And the bartender says, "Why the big paws?" The polar bear's like, "Always had them." So this kind of fits with what I was saying earlier about on your worst days, you're still higher frequency than people on their best days. Because those big feet, those snowshoe feet, allow Lynx to walk on top of the snow rather than sinking into it, which is why she is so successful of a hunter, because she's not having to fight her way through the snow. She's not, putting a foot in and sinking, putting another foot in and sinking. She can actually run across the top of the snow without sinking in. And that's it's kind of like in Lord of the Rings when they're trooping through the mountains and stuff, right? And you've got all the hobbits and Gandalf and the humans, everything. They're trudging through the snow. They're in snow up to their chests. Meanwhile, there's Legolas, the elf, just doop-de-doop-de-doop-de-doop on top of the snow. So realize that your lows are not as low as they used to be. Realize that because of all the work you've done, right? I've talked before about Lynx being, she's the keeper of secrets. And some people actually say that the Sphinx in Egypt, rather than originally being a lion, actually was a lynx. Because lynx is the keeper of secrets. And she looks not at you, but through you. Just look at that gaze, right? She looks at you. She knows everything there is to know about you. But she keeps that secret. She doesn't, she's the keeper of secrets. She's not the gossip of secrets, right? And so she sees you in your wholeness without judgment. And she doesn't volunteer guidance or help unless she's asked to, because whoever she sees, she knows that they're on their own path. They have their own challenges, that whatever they're going through is exactly what they're supposed to be going through. And so I think this might be a significant part of it. You don't need to fix anyone or anything. You can look at the unfolding world around you. You can look at the universe, your life, and you can see that, okay, how am I wanting to say this? You don't need to change anyone else, right? In fact, when there is something in the outer world that annoys you or challenges you, thanks, Great Play. It says I'm so motivating. That's my job. I hope so. That's my aim. But so the reason that she can see all those truths of others in front of her is because she's examined her own secrets. She's done her own shadow work and has become the epitome of what we call in shamanism the hollow bone, right? The better you get at shamanism, it's just a matter of getting better at getting out of the way, becoming the hollow bone through which spirit moves into the world, becoming the hands and the eyes and the voice of spirit, kind of like what I'm doing right now, becoming that voice of what needs to be said. And so you've done all that work, you've cleared that bone, and that's what allows you to see clearly what's going on around you, right? And because you've dealt with your own stuff, hello, Astrius. I am doing well, thank you. Anna's, since you've been working on your own stuff, clearing your own energy, you no longer have all the filters and prejudices and all that kind of stuff that distort what you're seeing, right? It's like your windshield is clean. There aren't any smudges. There is no dirt. There's no smears. You see clearly through at what is actually there. And so when you do see something in the outside world or in somebody else that doesn't feel right, that annoys you, or whatever the emotion is, it's like you realize that it's time to do some more inner work, because the outside world is a reflection of the inner world. And you don't gain growth or enlightenment by changing the world around you, by changing the people around you. You change and you grow and you become enlightened, or whatever phrase you want to use there, by looking at your own secrets, clearing out your own issues, your own crap. And that's what makes you such a good ally for other people, helping others to see their path, to see more clearly, because you can talk to them from a place of compassion. You know, you can see exactly where they are or how they got there. And so you can help help them find that same kind of clarity, because you've already been there. Does that make sense? But, you know, because of all of that, because you've done so much purging, so much releasing of the illusions and all of the expectations and criticisms and judgments that the world has put on you, you've been releasing those so that you're not carrying them anymore, so that you are lighter and can walk on top of the snow. You can't be pulled down. There's nothing to weigh you down. And again, in that way, as same like Swan, in that way you become an inspiration to others. Others want to know, what the heck does she know that I don't know? How does she do that, right? People see other things just kind of falling into line for you, falling into place, miracles happening, synchronicities, and they're like, what the heck? How does she know how to make that happen, right? And that doesn't happen just by accident. You don't just stumble into that. It takes attention and time and focus and work to find that level of lightness, right? I've talked before, I've mentioned before how I went through an entire decade of extreme panic attacks and anxiety. And once I came through all of that, it was like, you know, you think that, you know, people that come through something like that, like they're going to be morose, so they're going to be kind of hyper vigilant, which I still kind of am sometimes. It's an ongoing process, but I came through all of that with my innocence intact, with my whimsy intact, and it's kind of like I went through all the shadow stuff to get to purge what wasn't a part of me, so that I could allow my light to shine, so that I could, like they say, like kind of it's a well-earned innocence, or a well-earned whimsy. Like I just a couple weeks ago, Odin, the All-Father, of the Norse gods showed up in one of my meditations, and I was like, "Oh my God, what are you here for? What, you know, do you have a message or what's going on?" And he said, "Yeah, that his message was to trust my whimsy." And um, I was realizing that that's exactly. Good night, Gray Play. Thanks for hanging out for a little bit. I hope you sleep well too. Um, Whimsy is my superpower, right? I mean, I've got a jackalope on my wall. I've got another jackalope stuffed animal over here. Um, Santa Claus, Tinkerbell. I'm just naturally whimsical, and that's who I am. And that's the part that tends to get put on hold, or I start to take life too seriously. Um, Thinking I have to do it by the rules. I have to do it step by step, the way it's supposed to be done. Blah blah blah. And I forget about the gift and the power of whimsy. You know, and it makes sense because all of my spirit guides are goofballs. Every single one. Um, they're always joking. Um, In fact, just to kind of as an aside, one of the things I teach in my classes is that if you ever meet a spirit guide and you're not sure if they're on the up and up, to ask them to tell you a joke. I learned that from a medicine woman. Because if they're on the up and up, if they're really a higher vibrational being, they are going to have a sense of humor. Um, I can't vouch for the quality of the jokes. The ones I get told are basically a lot of dad jokes like what do you get when you cross a frog with a train? A locomotive that loves to jump the tracks. Um, yeah. So goofball, goofy. You know, my favorite quote is from Oscar Wilde when he said, "Life is too important to be taken seriously." And I'm still learning to override that sense of um, play and whimsy and creativity, etc., is is for after the hard work or whatever, right? But here's the All Father. Here's Odin, this huge, burly mountain of a god with an eye patch. He's got an axe. He like wearing furs, and he's like, "Trust your whimsy." And I'm like this big burly guy telling me to be whimsical. And then it occurred to me, oh, there's a certain amount of whimsy when we talk about the gods, when we talk about the deities, etc. Right? Um, and so even though he's like presenting as this big, burly, no nonsense uh, being, all of that is, and I say that this isn't like to downplay um, who he is as a sentient being, as a powerful being, but the image is all part of our perception, our projection upon him. It's whimsy. And then it occurred to me that at this time of the year, having Odin appear to me talking about whimsy, and there's so much, there are so many connections between Odin and Santa. In fact, there's a lot of people that believe that Santa is a direct kind of manifestation of Odin, um, which is really interesting. But to the point of like the eight. So if you don't know much about Odin, he has Schlips, Schlipnir. His horse has 8 legs, and there are people that say, well, there are 8 reindeer. Like each reindeer that Santa has is like a personification of one of Schleipnir's hooves. I love going into that kind of thing. But anyway, so there's another whimsy. It's like Santa Claus. And I've worked with Santa Claus. I've talked to him. He's come to me as a guide. Um, there's a reason I'm wearing the hat. Um, and Christmas and solstice and fairies and whimsy, lightness. It took me a long time to get here, right? I had to do a lot of clearing out, of shadow work, of looking into the darkness, looking into, and I'm still doing it. I'm still, this past month or so has been some of the hardest challenges that I've had in my life, and I'm able to meet it with a sense of whimsy and dreaming and, you know, using the power of manifestation and imagination, all of those things, right? And taking things lightly, like the old joke about how can angels fly? Because they take themselves so lightly. So embrace your lightness. Embrace, notice, take credit for not being in the same place that you've been in the past, even when you are feeling low, right? Like a lot of people talk about the circle of life, but life is actually a spiral. Rather than being a circle where you go around and around and around on the same track, you go around, right? You've got the starting point, you go around, but every time you come back to that starting point, you're a little bit higher. You've got new experience, you've got new wisdom. And so even though these old issues might come up, you're at a different place with them. You go back around, you come around even higher. And, it may take you a long time to totally deal with these issues. But to know that when the old issues pop up again, that you are not the same person you were when you first encountered them, and that you are coming at them from a whole different perspective and height and lightness. And so there's also this element of simplification, right? Like Thoreau talked about, simplify, simplify, simplify. I've actually been going back. I was making a list of all the books that were kind of game changers for me, right? And most of the books are ones that I read when I first started exploring like metaphysics and that, new age spirituality, whatever you want to call it. And like, so even back in the 80s, early 90s, etc., it was all there. And the things that I read at the beginning, these, where it's all about love and simplicity, and then, as time goes on, we add these complexities and these rules, and well, you can't do that, and this only works if this happened, blah blah blah, and we start to throw dogma on top of it. which is what we were trying to get out of when we first started learning it. And so I'm in this place, kind of a remedial place of going back to where it all began for me, and remembering the simplicity of it, that everything is love. That's all there is. That's all it's about, is love. There is nothing else. That we are all one. That we can trust the universe. We can trust Creator. That we're always taken care of. That everything always works out. That only good can come of this, whatever this is. And that's how we stay light, because then we don't have all these second guessing and these different thought patterns and habits and all these kind of things that keep us down in the snow. We've graduated. You have graduated to a higher level of being. So I am being so verbose tonight. That's only 2 cards and we're an hour in. So I hope that makes sense, Anna. I hope that is helpful. So let's move on to card number 3 for Charles. If you're still here, I haven't seen you post anything for a while. But that doesn't mean you're not still here. I don't know if you can hear the music. I've got, with the fire, I've got some... you are still here. Yay! Your name is Carly. Awesome. Okay, thank you for that. All right, Carly. We'll pull card number 3 for Carly. I like that name. I don't know why. All right. I'm going to try to be a little briefer so that we can get through this within the allotted time. Not that that isn't another rule that we have to. Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome, Anna. All right. I got some big band Christmas music going on in the background. I don't know if that translates through the video or not, but okay. All right, Carly. Card number 3 is Turkey in reverse. And let me just say up front that a reverse card is not bad. You haven't done anything wrong. There's you're not going to be punished. There's nothing wrong with you. When a card comes up reversed, a lot of times it's just the thing that needs attention, or a lot of times it's the part of your path that you're working on currently, and so it's present. The seed of it is present, but it hasn't quite fruited yet, right? And so what turkey medicine is about, turkey is known as the giveaway bird. And just like Thanksgiving, we have turkey, one bird can feed so many people. And the native tribes saw and acknowledged that, and they only felt it proper to reciprocate. And so turkey brings a sense of reciprocation. Like, they realized how much turkey was taking care of them, and so they would in turn take care of turkey. She would see to their well-being, so they would see to her well-being. And they would make sure that she had plenty of safe places to roost, plenty of food, plenty of shelter, etc., so that she can become the biggest, best, strongest turkey that she could become. And then in turn, she would give her best to the people, right? And so it's that sense of well-being, of a non-zero sum. Like, you can only give, you can only help from a place of power. You can only, your only responsibility in this life is to become your best possible version of yourself that you can. Because from that place, you have more light, more strength, more power to be able to help other people, right? Like one of my favorite sayings from Abraham Hicks is that, you can't get sick enough to help someone who's ill. You can't get poor enough to help someone who's living in poverty. The only way to help them is to see to your own well-being. And so as you rise, as you become the best you can, you have more to offer them, right? And like when you're saving a drowning person, you don't jump into the water with them because they will pull you under, right? You stand on solid ground and you reach or you throw something to them and you draw them back in to your level. You pull them up. You don't dive down. And so this is a reminder that, in reverse, it can be kind of that energy of martyrdom, of sacrificing, being the sacrificial bird for everybody else, being the scapegoat, being the one who is always giving up their time or their energy or their feelings for the benefit of other people when it's not reciprocated. And so it's like it's draining yourself for the benefit of others. But the thing is, like that non-zero sum, when we all get better, we all get better, right? The best possible version of the world has every single person in the world healthy, fed, housed, living their full potential, being supported. The more people we have walking on the planet feeling more whole and loved and taken care of and complete, the better off the world is, right? So don't give me a second. This is a hard concept for people to get because we live in such a society of duality and kind of binary thinking, good versus bad, right versus wrong. And we think that life is an algebraic equation that if you have the two equal sums, right? And if you subtract from one side of the equation, you have to add it to the other side of the equation to make them balance. That is not how life works. Your heart, I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but your heart is what connects you to Creator, right? So your heart is a direct line to the creator of the universe. And your heart is what connects you to the heart of all living beings, all of humanity. And so your heart is your authority. If your heart, if someone asks you to do something and it feels, well, I've talked about the shackles on, the shackles off feelings, right? Someone asks you to do something and right away it feels like the shackles going on. Oh, I don't really want to do that, but I should because it'll help them. And, don't worry about me. I'll be okay. That is not a place of power. That is not a place where you can actually help others. If anything, you are only enabling them, because if you're not coming from your full power, then you're giving away your power, and they are taking that power. And though they might feel better for a little bit, they will keep coming back, because the only way to help others is to help them find their own power. You can't fix other people. There was this video I saw. I need to find that video so I can share it, but it was like this Buddhist monk, and he had a glass and he had a pitcher of water, and he said, "This is how we think it works." He took he filled up the cup, the glass, and then he dumped it on the ground, and then he filled it up and he dumped it out. And he said, "We think we need to fill our cup so that we can empty it for the benefit of other people, and then we have to fill it back up, and then we have to empty it for other people." It's like, that's not the way it's supposed to work. He took the glass, he started filling it up and filling it up and filling it up. Pretty soon, the glass was full and had all this water spilling over the edges, right? He said, rather than dumping out that water, it's the overflow from your being full that helps other people. If it doesn't feel right, it's not helpful. If every action, every circumstance should be a mutual benefit. If it's not a win-win, everybody loses. And so if you're not feeling supported, or you're not feeling powerful, or you're not feeling appreciated when you're doing something to help someone else, stop. No is a complete sentence, right? Your heart, like I said, is your authority. If your heart says no, you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to ask permission. You can know exactly what the right thing to do is because your heart will tell you. And if it feels like the shackle's going on, then that is fundamentally false. That is fundamentally the wrong place. I know I was talking about good and bad, right and wrong, but that is the wrong thing for you, because it doesn't feel uplifting. If it feels like the shackles came off, like all of a sudden you're a little bit lighter, you're feeling uplifted, that is the way to go. Like Joseph Campbell used to talk about following your bliss. Because when you follow your bliss, where there were only walls, doors will open. When you're following your bliss, when you're feeling that upliftment, that's you moving into your place of power. And from that place, at a higher frequency, you can see more of the playing field. You can see in 3 dimensions rather than 2 dimensions, right? You don't just see what's in front of you. You can see the non-linear nature of the world, and you can see how things work together, and you can see more opportunities that are available to you from that higher perspective, rather than just having 1 or 2 choices when you're approaching the world from a 2-dimensional view. Does that make sense? Um, so focus on, so turkey, nobody wants a scrawny turkey for Thanksgiving or Christmas, right? They want the biggest, healthiest turkey possible, because the healthier she is, the more of herself that she is, the full potential she can express, the more people she can feed. And it's the same way with you. The more in your power you are, the more you work for your own well-being, um, the more you have to help other people. And like I was saying earlier, then you become a healing presence in the world. It's not even that you have to do things to help heal the world. You heal the world by just being present, by just being that cup, that overflowing cup of light and abundance. It's like you become a new resource for others to find their own power. So again, love yourself, appreciate yourself, right? Just like Mr. Rogers said, you are perfect just the way you are. You are enough. You don't have to do anything to earn worthiness. You don't have to deserve worthiness. There is no one in the universe who has authority over you. There is no one in the universe who is more powerful than you. There is no one who has the authority to tell you what you need to do or who you're supposed to be. So follow your bliss. Do what feels good to you. And know that when you're feeling good, when you're feeling whole, when you're feeling complete and supported, that that is the energy that you're putting out into the world, right? There's enough suffering in the world. There's enough ugliness in the world without adding to it. If suffering were the answer, the world would be perfect, right? Suffering is not the answer. Claiming your wholeness is, right? And I've used this, I don't remember where I heard this. I heard someone else use this, but if you have a spider web that's horizontal, right, instead of vertical, if you take a point on that spider web and you lift it up, the entire spider web rises. You don't just pick that one part up. You bring up the entire web, right? Just like the web of life that we're all a part of. So what is best for you is best for everyone else. Not in a selfish, egotistical, well, screw you, I'm going to do what I want to. No, by seeking your best and your strongest and your best version of yourself, you are helping the world. Okay? So don't belittle your effect on the world. You change the world just by being in it. Okay? All right. I'm just realizing how loquacious I am being. I keep trying to give like shorter answers, but it starts to flow and I have to go with it. Let it go, let it go. Dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Let it go. All right, number 4 for Frederick. Ah. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Card number 4 for Frederick. Interesting. Oh, I'm so glad that was accurate. Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for the feedback. That is helpful too. But, you know, I have a hoodie I just bought recently. It says, on the front it says, "You are enough." And then on the back it says, "Dear person behind me, the world is a better place because you are in it. Love, the person in front of you." So just remember that. You are enough. You are perfect just the way you are. All right. Card number 4 for Frederick. We have Hawk in reverse. Hawk is the messenger of the gods. Whereas when we think about eagle, right? Eagle soars higher than any of the other birds. Untouchable, right? Everyone aspires to be eagle because he's untouchable. He's way up there. He's basically great spirit. Hawk, on the other hand, they hang out in the tops of trees or on light standards looking for rabbits, and then they dive to the earth, and then they're back up in the air, and then they dive to the earth, and they're back in the air. They're the messenger of the gods. They are the bridge between heaven and earth, spirit and physical. And kind of like Hermes, the Greek god Hermes, or you might know the Roman god Mercury, right? Which is why when Mercury goes into retrograde, it's communications and travel and those kind of things that go haywire, because that is what Mercury or Hermes are the deities of. But Hermes is the only god that can go from Tartarus, the ancient Greek underworld or land of the dead, to Olympus, the home of the gods, without needing to, punch a ticket or go, any initiation or anything. He has free reign. He's got that freedom. He knows both, right? Hi, Frederick. We're doing your card now. I don't know if you saw. It's Hawk in reverse. As I'm saying, it's like Hawk is the messenger of the gods. And like if you think about, these cards are a little bit limited because it's just got Hawk, but it doesn't have the different kinds of hawks. It doesn't have falcon, right? But falcon's popping into my head for you. And falcon is, falcon fits with Hermes and Mercury because falcon is the fastest animal on the planet. When falcon dives for its prey, They have clocked it at like 200 miles an hour. A falcon can fly like 200 miles an hour when they dive. And falcon is associated with the god Osiris and Horus, right? So falcon brings in a sense of divine presence, and that seems to be kind of a theme tonight. And so it's not so much being a messenger like between two separate points. It's more about bridging those points into one. I'm not really saying that the way I'm wanting to say it. It's not. How do I put this? It's not the act of moving from one point to another point and back again. It's about being every point in between simultaneously. And at that point, we start to get into quantum physics and stuff, right? Like how, I need to put another little pillow behind me. My papasan chair that I'm leaning against is poking into my back. In quantum physics, wow, this could go so deep. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to feel into how much is appropriate to say at the moment. But basically, if something isn't being observed, it's by observing something that we collapse it into an individual. And I won't go into the whole double slit experiment right now, but it's worth your time to Google and to look at it. It is probably, in my mind, the single most significant scientific experiment ever. It is about light, trying to figure out if light is a particle or a wave. And scientists had to come to the conclusion that it's both. That light acts as a wave, a field, until it's observed, and then it acts as a particle. And so as the messenger of the gods, right, you are the entire field between heaven and earth, between spirit and the physical. And it's like your job is to bring that divinity into the world, to become that divine presence in the world. Give me a second here, I need to plug in my phone. Boop. And so in reverse, dream bigger. It's an invitation to soar. It's an invitation to rise higher, right? Like there is so much more within your reach than you are currently seeking. And it's time for you to literally spread your wings and to fly and to explore and to become the common ground between heaven and earth, to be kind of the glue that holds together, the field of the unknown, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense. I was just kind of channeling that. Um, but it's kind of that realization that there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do, there's no one to become, because you're already it. You're already whole. You're already divine. You're already a high vibrational being. It's just a matter, because we're not taught those things in our world. It's all a matter of remembering those things. It's not about acquiring something outside of yourself and taking it on. It's about freeing ourselves, liberating ourselves from all the stuff that says we're worthless, or we have to earn our way, or that, that we're not great, so we can embrace that divinity within us and be the divine presence in the world. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to move on to card number 5 for Jake. Interesting. All right, Jake, card number 5 is Eagle in reverse. Just making a note so that I can get all those cards that came up tonight. It's really interesting. All the cards tonight, except for one, are birds. And the one that's not a bird is a cat. Anyway, so kind of a good good segue from hawk is moving into eagle, right? Like I just said, eagle is great spirit. And again, there's this sense of, like I said earlier, surrendering to your greatness. Because you're already whole, you're already enough, you're already complete, you're already divine. It's a matter of surrendering to those truths, right? Excuse me, sorry. So when eagle flies, eagle doesn't do a lot of flapping, right? He might for short distances or just to get going, but then it's like spread those wings and the thermals carry him. It becomes effortless. And I actually, eagle spoke to me in a vision one time, and it said that he talked about opening your wings, spreading your wings, and by doing that, you're opening your heart, right? So there's this total vulnerability, but it's a vulnerability of strength because it's only by opening that the winds can carry him. And it's similar to what I've talked about before. Like, um, there's a Zen or Taoist saying about how you can't grasp water. The only way to hold water is with open hands, right? The more you try to grasp water, squeeze water, the more it's just gonna escape your hand, your grasp. And it's the same thing with our hearts, right? If our heart is closed, we're trying to grasp truth, we're trying to learn who we are, right? But if we're trying to grasp at the truth, it's like grasping at straws. It's like whatever truth we might see, it slips through our fingers. The only way to find the truth of who you are is to open your heart, right? Then your heart is open and you can receive those blessings coming from Spirit. You can receive that wisdom, that knowledge, that truth of who you are. And so my guy just gave me an image of Dumbo. You know, Dumbo, through the entire movie, thought he could only fly because he had this magic feather, right? That crow gave him a magic feather. As long as he had that magic feather, he could fly. Well, then at the end, it's like he accidentally let go of the feather, and so he didn't think he could fly anymore. And they had to tell him, like, no, the feather is just a feather. There was nothing magic about it. The magic is within you. You can do it without the feather. And I think that's why Eagle is coming up in reverse. It's about, it's like having a balloon, a hot air balloon, right? And the hot air balloon wants to rise, and it's like kind of champing at the bit to rise, but we have it, pinned to the earth. We have all the ropes and cables, holding it to the earth. We have all the sandbags on the side as ballast to hold it down. But a hot air balloon is not meant to sit on the ground or to just hover, a short height above the ground. Hot air balloon is meant to soar like the eagle, up, up and away in my beautiful balloon. That's your spirit. Your spirit wants to rise. Your spirit naturally rises. And so it's about dropping all that extra ballast that isn't you. All the things that you hold on to. Holding on to Dumbo's feather is actually getting in your way because it's denying who you are as a divine being. And so all the things you lean on, all the things that you have used to uplift yourself, it's time to let go of those so that you can realize that that ability to fly comes from inside of you. It's not given from something outside of you. It's not because of something you own or something you've earned. is within you. The ability to fly is within you. It's your ability, it's your talent. And if you're trying to hold on to all these things to be safe, right, protected, there's no room for spirit to come in. And so it comes to that point, it's like you're at this point, it's kind of like a initiation, a rite of passage where you move beyond the need to see the world in duality, right? In light versus shadow, good versus bad, etc. But to see the whole, like the yin yang, right? It's like to see the connection of all things, to see the unison of all things, the oneness of all things, and to realize that there's nothing to fear, that there is the universe, like Einstein said, your greatest decision is whether you live in a friendly universe or a hostile one. Because if you live in a friendly universe, like I do, then everything that happens is for your benefit. The universe has your back. The universe loves you. And though there are need for boundaries and sticking up for yourself and those kind of things, I'm not saying to become a doormat or, open yourself up to harm, but the more you open yourself up inside of yourself, the more you'll find yourself soaring, right? And that is part of the eagle medicine, is that soaring way above the earth, being able to see that there really are no boundaries, there really are no lines like there are on a map, that everything is connected, and have that perspective, from a distance, to see how connected everything is, to see that there is no duality, there is no good versus evil, that it really is all one, and that the universe supports you, right? Surrender, open your heart by spreading your wings, and the winds carry you. It's effortless. You don't have to do anything. And the winds carry you. Um, so being in reverse is kind of waking up to the remembering of yourself as a divine being. Waking up to remembering yourself as a spirit having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience. Sorry, I was reaching for some water. So again, your spirit, when left alone, will naturally rise, just like eagle, just like a hot air balloon. Trust it. Trust the universe. Know that you are loved, that you are supported, that the universe has your back. Um, and when you get lost in the tribulations of the world and the confusion and the whirlwinds of opinion and etc., ask Eagle to carry you on his wings, to give you a bigger perspective, to see life from a different view, from a more holistic view, where you can see, we get caught in this tunnel vision and we get focused on a problem and we can't see anything around it. But like another thing that Einstein talked about was that You can't solve a problem with the same energy that created the problem. You have to come at it from a different angle. You have to come at it with more energy than what created it. In other words, you have to open up, you have to expand beyond it, kind of think outside the box. And that's what your message is tonight, is to think outside the box, to start just playing with the idea like, wow, what if I am a spirit having a human experience? What if what if at my core, I really am just love and joy? What if I am divine? What if I am connected to source energy? What if I am just the expression of source energy? And play with that. Let go of all of um, all of the rules and the regulations, all of the structures that you were raised with, as far as, feeling unworthy, feeling, having to toil and blood, sweat, and tears and all that kind of stuff. And then play with it, experiment with actually doing things that bring you joy, actually spreading your wings to see things from a higher perspective, to go to unknown territory, um, to see the connection between things, right? So I hope that was helpful. So that was our 5 individual cards. So I am going to take all 5 of those cards and put them into a single spread for the community, which I love. It's like, so we did these individual readings, and now we get to see how they interact and influence each other and dance together in the community. Who am I missing? I have everybody. 1, 2. Missing 1. Turkey. Gobble, gobble, gobble. Turkey. All right, so now the thing is, when I'm going to point my phone down so that you can see, and I'm like, if there was a being behind, I am really behind, because I should be finishing up now, but that's okay too. Okay. Let's see, give myself a little bit more space here. Turkey and swan and hawk. All right. Now, because my phone is on the mirror setting or whatever, right? This is going to be a little bit backwards. So, but I'm going to tip it down so that you can see. Let's pull it up a little bit. Okay, can you see all of them? Oh. What if I do that? There we go. I think you can see all of them, since I can't really look at my screen. So, and so we have east, south, west, north, and center. So if you were to come to me for an individual reading, this is what it would look like. And so I'm kind of giving you a taste as well, if you want to consider coming and getting a full reading from me. This is something of what it would look like. And so I like to start in the east, where the sun rises, And so east is air. So that's the place of the mental realm. And so over here we have swan. And like I said earlier, swan is about surrender. It's about grace. It's the ugly duckling. It's like rather than letting the past continue to keep you knocked down, to keep you weak, keep you less powerful, it's it's taking whatever happens and moving, using it to move forward. Every growth opportunity, um, and it's giving yourself that grace that you're doing the best you can with what you know, that you always have, that you've always been in the right place at the right time. And every experience you've had brings you closer home to unveiling and revealing who you truly are, right? Just like the ugly duckling growing up in a world that where he didn't belong, and then afterwards realizing that, oh, he never was a duckling, that he was a whole different animal. And so surrendering to the path of least resistance, right? The Tao, the watercourse way, the path of joy. Joy is the path of least resistance. So instead of trying to muscle through things and become who you're supposed to be, it's about surrendering and trusting. Hi, Kit Kat. Trusting who you already are, discovering who you actually are. And so it's about casting off all the expectations and rules um, and mental patterns that keep you small, and allow yourself to become who you've always been meant to be, who you came here to be. And being in the mental realm, it's kind of like this is about using your thoughts, etc., and your beliefs to move forward, to strengthen you, rather than to hold beliefs and thought patterns that keep you small, right? It's like you are a sovereign being. Those voices in your head are the voices of adults from when you were a kid, when you needed authority, when you needed instruction, etc. But those voices are no longer helpful. And so allowing yourself to grow out of them, like swan growing this beautiful coat of feathers and radiating this light, healing the world by his very presence. Right? When I see a swan, I'm instantly uplifted, which is fundamentally healing. That's healing feels like upliftment. It feels like liberation. Um, and so this is about liberating yourself from the old mental patterns, the old thoughts and beliefs, and discovering who you actually have been the entire time. Then if we move to the south, we have links. The south is fire. So south is about action and it's about passion. I always kind of think of it as the purpose card because it's those desires and those passions that we have that are actually the compass to tell us where we're supposed to go and who we're supposed to become. And so with links down here in the fire, it's interesting that I was talking earlier about links with shadow work, and again, like in so many of these, like the sense of grace and surrender, right? Surrender. There's nothing you need to do. This is about shining that light, shining that fire into the dark corners of your path, of your beliefs, and illuminating, finding out that, well, discovering who you really are underneath, like looking at the blind spots, lighting up the shadows, actually examining all the different beliefs that were handed to you as a child, and having the authority to say, no, that one is not true. No, that is not who I am. And to reach through that shadow to the light on the other side, the fire burning within you of your own truth. Because then it's like that clarity that comes, like I mentioned, being like the hollow bone and having no filters. It's like you're burning off all of the angst and the challenges and all the things that you've been through are the fuel for the fire to light yourself up, to see the world more clearly, and to be a force of nature in the world, to be, again, the presence of the divine. You know, and cats are the perfect example of that, your heart being your authority, right? You are sovereign. Cats are apex predators. They're at the top of the circle of life. And so they don't question themselves. They don't look for permission or look for others to tell them what they're supposed to do. She just knows. And it's by being who she is, like I've talked before about, before you act, it's important to align to your spirit, to connect to spirit, because moving from that place, moving from the heart, then everything you do is inspired action, inspirited action, has heart and spirit and purpose in everything you do. But it's so important to first, to come from that place of power, to come from that place of surrendering to your greatness, not having to look through the filters of your own issues or your own shadows that distort the view of the world, but being able to see the world for what it is, to see the wholeness, to do, you know, the namaste thing, to you know, the divine in me sees the divine in you. The only way to do that is to love yourself first, to see the divinity within yourself and to let that divinity shine through. That is the only thing that allows you to see the divinity within whoever is in front of you. So when we move to the west, with Turkey in reverse, west is water. So that is the emotional realm. And it's like these two really kind of play off of each other, the mental and the emotional. And it's like we're at a point now where mentally things are starting to fall into place. Mentally things are starting to shine. We're starting to get glimpses of that light of who we're supposed to be. We're finding more inspiration. but at the same time, emotionally, we still feel that sense of unworthiness or inadequacy, that we have to earn our way to this, that this isn't natural, that we have to do something to get here. But the message here with Turkey is that we are already this. And the challenge is the part of our path that's kind of in transition is finding that worth in our everyday lives, in our everyday action of being the light in the world, not sacrificing ourselves, not compromising the best part of ourselves so that we fit into the world. It is about transcending the world. This is about having your, not, a lot of people ask, like, well, where am I supposed to go? How do I fit into the world? How do I adapt myself to work in the world? When this is about being yourself and letting the world revolve around you. This is about being yourself, that alignment I was talking about, and letting everything else fall into place around you. So the emotions are not quite in balance, but we are starting to see the light. I'm talking as the community in general. We're starting to see the light. We're starting to see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. We still might have a lot of darkness to go through and convincing ourselves that we are worthy, right? That when we sacrifice ourselves, that we're not helping anyone, especially ourselves. And that there's so much more we can do from a place of power, of remembering our spirit, remembering that we are spirit. Then we can become more balanced, and we have more power, more influence in the world just by being in the world. And we don't have to continue to second guess ourselves because our mannerisms, our actions, etc., just naturally flow from who we actually are, right? And so then the next step around this spiral, up north is Earth, so this is like the physical world, the logistical world, how this, all these other things present in the world. And so up here we have Hawk, and like if you saw this as a spiral, as this is the spiral path, the spiral dance, right? Follow the yellow brick road. It's like this is where we are generally. This is our next. This is what we're working on, and then the next step after that, of realizing our own worth, is stepping it up to become, to realize not just our worth as a citizen of the earth, but to realize our inner divinity, to bring our divinity into the world, right? Up here in the earth spot, in the physical world, it's like being that hollow bone again. It's like interesting that these two are opposite each other, because they're very similar, talking about the hollow bone, about being the bridge between heaven and earth. Our job is to be the light within us, to radiate that light, to be maybe not so much a bridge between the two separate spaces, but the portal, the stargate, that if you've ever seen the show Stargate, it's like one of my favorite shows ever, SG1. But it's like this wormhole that's created that basically, you know, you're one place, you step through the Stargate and you're someplace else, right? Um, it's like you're becoming that Stargate between heaven and earth, and you can walk through at any point. You're that, you're the conduit through which that energy flows back and forth. You become the field, and you bring all of that light and that love and that energy into the physical realm. You still live as a human, but you're a spirit having a human experience. That's what it means, right? So then we move into the center. Wow, my energy is really starting to lag. We're almost done. Hang in there. Thank you for your presence and your patience and perseverance. All those good P words. So in the center, the hub of the wheel, the card, the spirit card, the destination on the spiral dance, we have eagle. Um, it's like Turkey is about finding the worth of our humanness, right? And then Hawk is about bridging our humanness and our divinity. Eagle is about full divinity, soaring above all the others, like um, not getting caught in the dramas and the drudgery of the world. By being yourself, spreading your wings, right? Reaching, extending yourself, owning your space, the very wind, the very air lifts you higher than all the other animals, all the other birds, to a place where you can see the unity, the oneness of the world. And rather than just being a bridge between heaven and earth, you become both. You are the divine presence in the physical world, right? Because everything is energy, everything is frequency, right? So even though we may be physical beings, that doesn't negate the fact that we are spirit, that we are divine. And so where this is all leading is to a realization of our light in the world, our divinity in the world. And by being ourselves, being fully ourselves, seeing to our own well-being, we uplift the entire world. We inspire the entire world just by being ourselves, by moving with the flow of nature and the earth. We are carried to a place of exaltation, right? We are carried to a place of being admired and aspired to. And just because it's in reverse doesn't mean, oh, you may or you may not, oh, you're screwed, you're not going to get there. The fact that the eagle is here means that eagle medicine is fully present, and it's the destination, right? It's where we are destined to come. It wouldn't be here if we weren't going to realize it, if we weren't going to actually arrive at that place. So that is the reading for the community. I know I kind of went kind of late tonight, but I thank you for your perseverance. I thank you. There we go. I hope you learned a lot. I hope you're welcome, Carly. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I know I always enjoy. I hope you learned something. I hope it was helpful. If it was, make sure you share, make sure you um, subscribe. I'm like, words, bad words, where are they? um, and if you did receive something and you wish to reciprocate, like Turkey, reciprocate in a different way, I do have my Venmo link in the description. Anything you wish to give, to donate, I greet it with great gratitude. Um, it still amazes me that I can do the things I love and that it helps people and that people appreciate it and I can actually make a living doing what I love to do. So thank you for being a part of that. And if you enjoyed this and you would like your own personal reading, you can visit my website at perchingwolfstudios.net. You can learn more about me and you can see the different shamanic services that I offer, readings and healings and teachings. Oh my! But you can read a little bit more about the readings and you can set up a session right there on my website. You can see what the kind of healings I do. My favorite is soul retrieval, where I get to go and find the parts of your soul that have fragmented off and gone off to protect themselves after trauma and reunite you with those things so that you can feel more whole and be better equipped to face the world, to face your path. And then I am currently actively working on getting some classes together. Coming up in the new year, I'm going to do 1 or 2 introduction to shamanism classes. And I've had a couple of requests. In the past, I've done a whole year-long course in shamanism, a monthly class where we would meet once a month and we would explore a different aspect of shamanism, and we'd do that for an entire year. And the last couple of years, my guides have told me to kind of take a break. I'm starting to get people asking me about it again. And so that might be coming up. I'm looking at formatting it differently, either doing it weekly rather than monthly, so it'd be over the course of like 12 weeks rather than 12 months. Or I might still do it monthly, but I'll do it in like 6-month increments so that you don't have to commit yourself to an entire year unless you want to. But anyway, so watch on my website for that, on my Facebook page for that. Lots of things coming up in the near future, in the new year that I'm hoping for. As we move into the year of the horse, right? The year of freedom and expansion and power. Gentle power that doesn't need to explain itself. Calm power. So I think that is it for the moment. Thank you again for your perseverance. And I know this was kind of a long video. I thank you for being here. This will go at some point onto this video. I'm live! Sorry, something interrupted the stream, but fortunately I was able to come back on. I don't remember what I was saying, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you got something out of tonight. I know I always do. And I hope you will come back and join me next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And until I see you again, know that I love you, that I see you, and that I honor you. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and go shining. All right, bye now.